everybody, and welcome back to the Mebois Podcast, episode 13. Do I always introduce myself? I can't remember.
Yeah, you do.
I'm Ray.
And I'm Josh.
And today, I think like last time as well, I want to start off with a story from my escapades. And so this is my first time telling Ray as well. So I was at work, and without giving too much information away, oftentimes we have a lot of like international people who come and work with us for a couple months or a couple weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one guy who had come, and I set him up in an office and all that. And we've talked every now and then. He's friendly enough. I don't remember exactly where he's from, but he's not from here. Here being the United States. And so the other day, I think it was last Friday, I guess 2 Fridays ago now, but he came to my office and he was just talking to me, and this was towards the end of the day. Yeah, so he came to my office, and he was just talking to me. We were pretty much just making small talk, and out of nowhere he starts going into this story where, now keep in mind, he's foreign, so I guess and this story sort of shows it. So he's talking about this experience on a bus, because we were talking about, I think, public transport or something. And so he was like surprised about how, people can fight on a bus and the bus driver doesn't even like fucking pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of common here, just because like that shit happens all the time. People just get into it. But so he's telling me, and then he goes out of nowhere. He's like, I think he's like Hispanic, by the way, which is actually relevant to the story.
Okay.
And so he goes, yeah, it was this one black guy and this other black guy. And then, so he was surprised that the one guy called the other one the N-word.
Okay.
So right away, that's like, which I found hilarious, because it's like, okay, well, you obviously haven't been around here for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But what he did was, he said to me pretty loudly in the workplace, he said, yeah, the one black guy called the other black guy N-word, and he said hard R. And I'm sitting there, and he's standing in my doorway too, so like he's in the doorway, so he's got even more fucking sound access to the office. And I'm looking at him, and I'm like, and like, so like, something that I've started to sort of notice, I used to always think it was just a positive, but maybe it's a bit of a character flaw as well, is that I tend to avoid conflict no matter what.
Right.
Unless I really have to get into a conflict, I don't like doing it. And so I'm thinking like, oh man, I should probably say something. But like, I understood how he was saying it in the story.
Yeah.
And obviously he wasn't saying it to like be offensive. He was just saying like a factual story.
Right.
So I understood where he was coming from there.
And his whole point is that he's surprised people use the word.
Yeah. Although it's funny that his surprise was that one black person would call another black person that. But and so I'm like, oh man, should I say something? Because I know, like, especially if you interrupt someone while they're talking with that, they're immediately going to go on like the defensive.
Right.
And so I'm thinking like, oh, should I say anything? So I'm just in my mind, I've decided like, okay, I'll just let him finish the story. And then, at the end of it, maybe I'll say something like, just so you know, like, people can get offended and all that. I know how you're using it, but, just be careful or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But as that thought's going through my head, immediately after or it was either immediately after or immediately before he says, I can't remember.
He got jumped.
Yeah, just the two guys from the bus came in and started, what did you say? No, so he uh, a black person who works there walked by.
Oh God.
And I was like, so yeah, as internally screaming as I was when he said it, when that person walked by, I was like, oh my God. Like we were having a perfectly pleasant conversation, and all of a sudden I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna get fired for this somehow. But it gets even better. So they walk by and they go to the copy room, because my office is right next to the copy room.
I thought you were gonna say they go to the cops.
Yeah, fucking cops come in. Get on the ground. But so they're in the copy room after he says that, and so he keeps talking for a second, like maybe 15, 20 seconds. And I'm just kind of sitting there like thinking like, what the fuck? And he goes on with this story, and then the person who had walked by came back, and she interrupted, and she was like, I'm not trying to interrupt your conversation, but I heard what you said. Basically, she was saying what I was thinking to say, which is just like,
be careful.
I understand you're telling a story, but like we're in a workplace, and just in general, like you probably shouldn't say that, because people will get offended, and they won't be like as level-headed as I am, or like understand the context or anything. And so, like I imagined, the guy immediately gets defensive, because it's so stupid, because always in that situation, someone will be like, oh, you probably shouldn't say something, and then immediately it goes to like, well, I'm not racist.
Right.
It's like, well, I wasn't calling you racist. So this guy, he's like, well, I was telling a story. Here, let me give you the context so that you understand it or whatever. She's like, no, I don't care. Yeah. She's like, no, I don't care about the context. I'm just telling you that, if people hear that, they're going to be upset. But he keeps like being very defensive, and he's just saying, oh, I was just telling a story, blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, as if it couldn't get any worse. Cause like, this has all been sprung on me in the last like 30 seconds. And like honestly, I still sometimes get like a bit anxious just having regular conversations. And then on top of that, I try to avoid conflict. And so all this has happened in the past 30 seconds. And then this dude says, while he's being defensive, he says, yeah, I was just telling a story to my friend here. He didn't seem to mind.
Oh,
and I was like,
no.
Oh, shit. I started fucking packing my fucking office up. Okay, I'm leaving. Sorry, guys.
Here's my letter of resignation.
Yeah, effective immediately. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, no. But like, I'm so shocked. I don't know what. I'm just kind of like, I'm sitting there as these two are like arguing in my doorway. Meanwhile, I
should have just shut the door.
Yeah. Well, he was like in slightly, so it would be so now I've co-signed this dude's ignorance. And so she's like, well, maybe that's because he's not affected by, maybe because he's not affected by that word, basically like that. Which for a second I was like, what, bitch? But then I was like, well, yeah, you're kind of right. But
yeah, fair enough.
I wasn't saying anything this whole time. I just let
not
him
like
go.
you said
so,
cracker.
Yeah. Oof. That's a Louis C.K. bit, right? Shouldn't have called me a cracker. Brings me back to owning land and people. Yeah, so it's just getting really defensive, and towards the end of it, he's basically yelling at her, I'm a very respectful man.
Listen to me, you bitch.
Yeah. Listen here, you. Oh my god, it was bad. Um,
So
and
it
so
turned
she
into a whole
left.
situation.
Yeah, she walked away and she was pretty pissed and basically she went off saying like, "Look, man, you keep saying that, you're gonna get fucking jumped." Like basically that. Um, and I'm sure I'm red in the face, and he kind of turns back to me, and I'm just kind of silent for a couple seconds, and then I just like try to finish the conversation, and we talked for like a minute more, and then he's leaving. So I just said like, um, I was like, yeah, that was a bit confrontational, but yeah, like you should be careful with that, especially around here. I understand you're just saying it like in context of the story or whatever, but still, like people will still get offended by that.
Yeah.
And he was even defensive with me. So I just kind of like was like, okay, well. But afterwards, I'm like, ah, shit, because like I didn't say anything that whole time, and my dude threw me under the bus. So like I went looking for that for the person who works there.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, let me just clear the air here real quick because I'm gonna have to see this person.
Yeah.
Um,
You know who they are?
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I've known him for years.
Oh God.
I mean, not like, yeah, not like super close, but like I've been like acquaintances with them for years, and like I've worked on their laptops and stuff like that.
Not anymore.
So I, yeah. So yeah, I went up to their office to see if I think they left right away. So I was like, shit. So this past week, I've been thinking about that and just like dreading having to see them again. And so actually they came by and they were talking to one of the people who has the offices next to mine.
Yeah.
That sounds stupid. I can't speak. The peoples that got their offices next to mine. And they're talking, and eventually they start talking about that story.
Ooh.
And so I walk over, just because I want to make sure, because I hadn't even seen her to say hello or anything.
You
Since
just pop
actually
your-
no, I think
You just pop your head out like, hey, actually about that.
not racist, by the way. And so like I just popped my head and I was like, yeah, I could hear what you're talking about. I just wanted to make sure you knew. I was keeping it light. I was joking around about it, but I was just like, oh man. After that, I'm like, they definitely hate me. Yeah. So I cleared the air that way. So I felt a lot better after that. But yeah, it was just like, it was so funny to me, and I couldn't really let on how funny I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously at the time, but it was just
Right.
so funny to me that all this happened like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was having like a perfectly pleasant conversation about like the towns around, because he was wondering like how safe my town was and how safe uh, um, the town we were working in was and whatnot. We were talking about public transit, and all of a sudden it became this thing, and I'm like, whoa. But yeah, that was that was something. Yeah, I don't know. I guess
It reminds me of you ever see that Bill Burr bit when he's talking about the guy he was talking to in like Nashville or something, and they were talking about a football player, and some guy used the N-word, and Bill Burr is just like, whoa, 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 make sure it's cool first. You don't just use the word hot potato. There you go.
dude, it made me think, just because like I remember when I was a kid, I can't remember how old, but I was at my aunt's place, and we were having like a family party. It was probably like one of my cousin's birthdays or something, and so that's the Irish side of my family, but she's married to an Italian, and so it's like even more Italian family. But this is the Italian family that I don't know, and I don't really have a desire to know. And so like we're sitting around watching basketball, I think, and
An Italian pastime.
yeah. Well, the funniest thing is like I don't know if anyone will be able to relate to this, but like if you're watching a sport with an Italian fan, or and I mean like probably like older Italians, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, if you're watching any sport, that sport probably includes black people, which means they're probably going to say something racist. So
Just start talking about the muscles and shit like that.
the quick twitch muscle fit tissue. Um, yeah, they're just they're just physically superior athletes, and that's why they have smaller brains.
Oh God.
No, that's not what he said. But he so we're just like sitting there, and there's this old dude. I mean, old, probably in his like 50s, sitting next to my youngest cousin, who's like pretty young and impressionable, and they're watching basketball, and he just turns to my youngest cousin and goes, or he's talking about a specific player, I can't remember, but he goes, "Look at that N-word." I'm like, like even I can't remember how old I was. Maybe it was like early teen years. I can't remember. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like just casually to this fucking infant, just saying that shit. I'm like, oh my God.
That sort of thing happens here. Like I'd play a soccer game on PlayStation with my neighbors or a cousin or something, and they just I remember we were having like a penalty shootout, and it's like a cousin's turn to shoot, and the player he had was a black player, and they're going up to take it, and he just goes, "Come on, Blackie." I'm just, ugh.
They said Blackie.
They said Blackie, yeah.
That's one of those. I remember, not to cut your story off, but I just remember my grandma, when she was still alive. I remember she would call my dog Blackie because he's black, but his name's Max. And it just always rubbed me the wrong way. Or like when it's so weird when like sweet little old ladies say some suspect shit.
Yeah.
I remember one time she was talking about like these little black kids that were playing or something, and she called them little monkeys.
Oh,
I was kind of like,
ooh, that's bad.
because like when kids start roughhousing or whatever, you'd be like, oh, knock it off, you little monkey. But also these kids are black, so I don't know what she's doing.
That's like they what was that clothing company that made that sweater? And
Oh yeah. With
like the craziest monkey in the jungle or something like that.
See, I mean, that's definitely just someone being like innocent to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, that would be funny if there was just a very racist T-shirt design for a shitty company who just gets to rage out by making really racist shirts.
Yeah, it's just you'd have to imagine someone along the line should have realized.
I don't think there's that many people along the line, to be fair, for those things.
Like photographer, right? People who are managing the photo shoot, the parents who are probably supervising, maybe not, who knows?
How I imagine these kind of photo shoots go is like the parents bring the kid by, they drop him off, and then they go to the bar. And then the manager, photo shooter, and editor is the same guy, and they just take a picture.
Yeah, probably.
Can
you
I
imagine?
can't
It's
remember
like,
where.
the parents are gone. He's like, all right, let's get this shirt on him.
Yeah. Let's get this one out of the way real quick. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, that's kind of surprising. I mean, the internet exists, I guess, but for people to be saying that in Indonesia.
Yeah, but I don't know, I guess race and stuff like that, it's not really something you really talk about here.
You don't talk about it unless you're making fun of it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Like obviously Indonesians aren't going to learn about slavery in the U.S.
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense.
But there are some race issues here. Like you got the treatment of the way Indonesian soldiers treat people in Papua. There have been plenty of cases like that that sort of get swept under the rug. And I don't know. It's like one of those things where everyone's like non-confrontational, so they don't really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a I don't like. There's never really been any malice behind it. It's just sort of ignorance.
Well, let's not say that with certainty.
Yeah, like from what I could tell.
Yeah. It's a weird because I mean, honestly, this situation was funny, but it also made me think a bit because it's sort of like, it's like I was saying before, like I've always considered my my avoidance of conflict and all that to just be positive. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I can think about plenty of times in my life where I've just sort of let people be, shitty people, just because I didn't want to like get into it.
Right.
And there's a line. I mean, my thought has always been like, I'm not going to change anyone's mind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Although maybe in certain situations it's better to try and just not be able to than not do anything. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, there are plenty of situations I remember in college, like, we have a friend who likes to stir the pot a little bit with conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And one day we're all just hanging out, and someone brought up Palestine and all of that.
I would have just left.
Oh, that's exactly what I did. They start talking about Palestine. Like the conversation was going there, but as soon as someone said Palestine, and these, like, the people he was talking to, I'll give some context. He's a white guy, and he's talking to, like, I think one guy was like, I can't be certain, but he's Arab of some sort. And they start talking about Palestine, and they start arguing, and I just said out loud, "Bye." I just left.
Oh my god.
And dude, and another time, the same guy tried to have a conversation about, I think it was a white privilege talk. And
White people love to bring that up.
Yeah, he starts, like, I guess the argument of it, like, not existing or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's upsetting a few people in the room. So I just sort of stay quiet. And a few minutes later, he he was shut down real quick. Oh, dude, it's just not. I don't know. Maybe it is a bad thing to not be part of that conversation, but I don't want to be part of it. When it's for no reason like that, at least. When you just randomly bring up Palestine and randomly bring up white privilege.
Yeah. Oh yeah, some people like to argue about that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we know a couple of people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just avoid that shit. Just because. I mean, I think I said this last podcast, where it was just like, and obviously this is not a pity Josh party, but because I've still got my white privilege, man.
Don't pity me just yet. I'm still white.
That conversation. Growing up, I had so much of that, where like
white privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, my skin was whiter back then, so I had more of it. I have white child privilege. The strongest thing you can be. But like, you know, like growing up, there's just like with my living situation, just like everything being an argument, everything being conflict.
Yeah.
It's just like when you get older,
You get sick of it.
and even back then, honestly, yeah, you just like, if there's conflict, you just basically like, you shut down or you leave,
Mm-hmm.
like, because it's just like that's just a coping mechanism.
Yeah. Could it also
Um,
be a situation where maybe like because you've seen a lot of it, you can differentiate between what a situation is where it's kind of pointless, so you shut down, and one where maybe stepping in is necessary? Or
I
is
mean,
it?
I think I don't know if it's really sort of helped that aspect. I think I'm basically like everybody else in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Just you can. I think pretty much everybody can tell when something's worth stepping in for.
I don't know.
Well, I think
This
no,
one guy starting
I
those two conversations was completely unnecessary.
well, no, that's the thing. I think everybody knows. I think some people want conflict, and so they
Okay.
know, like, okay, this isn't like something I need to talk about, or this isn't something I need to join in on,
Right.
but I want to because I don't know, I don't know how people grow into that because I've known plenty of people like that, and I still do, where like I think they like conflict because like they always want to. They're like the kind of people who, if you tell them about your favorite movie, they'll say, "Oh, that movie's shit."
Yeah.
It's basically an expansion of that personality through like every aspect of life.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I guess maybe they didn't. Maybe they had really nice parents or something. Not sure. Um, and so they're like, "Ah, this is too much. This is too much peace and quiet. Let me make some conflict."
It's a fetish.
Um, yeah, it's a fetish to see the look on people's faces. They,
Yeah, you just make it doubly worse. You start a conflict and then you get so turned on you get a boner during it.
yeah, that's a conflict in itself.
Oh man.
Uh, so the new Batwoman trailer came out for the CW show, right? And it's interesting. Uh, yeah, it's one of those things where I sort of know everything I need to know about the trailer just by looking at the like to dislike ratio.
Yeah.
Um,
How was like I wasn't paying attention to that.
it's like 90% negative or 80% negative, something like
Ooh.
that.
See,
Um,
the funny thing about that show is when they casted Ruby Rose,
mhm.
there was
Apparently, everybody hates her. By the way, I didn't know about that.
yeah. So a petition went out, and it said that she wasn't gay enough for the role.
Well, fuck off. She's plenty gay. She's gay as hell, dude.
Yeah, she's pretty gay in the trailer. But like I don't know. They wanted someone who identified as just gay, I guess, because I believe she's
Was she
bisexual.
bi?
Yeah,
Dude, people do not know what to do with bisexual people. They get so fucking mad.
fucking kill him, dude.
I think. um, I think I can't remember if I told this before, but I remember my sister told me one day that she didn't believe that people were bi. I was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what? You're gay. Why do you not believe in people being bi? By the way, she's dating a man again, so I don't know.
Oh, it's really confusing.
Dude, I could tell some stories about that, but that's for another day.
She's. I don't believe in being bi. Some weeks I'm just into men. Some weeks I'm into women.
It's hard to be a straight white man these days because you've got a sister who tells you that she's gay, but then dates a man. What should I call him or her? I don't know.
Well,
It's a bit of an old man thing.
yeah, a lot of petitions been going around. I don't know why that's a thing. You got the Game of
Like-
Thrones petition, and then recently there's a Captain Marvel petition. They want to replace Brie Larson with someone who's either a minority or gay or bi.
Or gay.
Yeah. I'm not even joking.
Dude, like, it's like, what's a good analogy for this?
Homer.
Homer?
You said analogy, and I thought of Odyssey. I don't know why.
But no, I mean, this isn't the conversation I'm like, I guess it is sort of part of the Batwoman conversation anyway, but it's like, first of all, and I don't think it's really like a controversial thing to say, but, I believe in, what do you call that? The equality of opportunity.
Yeah.
Not equality of result or,
Outcome.
Of, or more like, I can't remember what you call that, but basically saying that I believe everyone, no matter what you are, or who you have sex with, or if you don't have sex at all, should have equal opportunity to get jobs. But I don't think just because there's equal opportunity, that means that equal number of each person is in the position. That's not how it works.
Right.
So, I mean, and we can't even do equal opportunity. Like, we still can't figure that shit out because there's just too many factors. So it's so vain of us to try to play God and try to be like, okay, now we're gonna plant these people in there because we need an equal number of this and that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, you're obviously just cherry picking now, and you're not going to get the best person for the thing. And it just doesn't make any. It just makes people bitter also, because then they're not going to like your show because of, one choice that they feel like was made because like of inclusivity or something like that, rather than how good they are at acting or the source material or what have you. It's just so stupid because once again, like, we can't even do equal opportunity yet because, like, well, we haven't solved poverty, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, until we can solve poverty, then that's probably the bigger issue in terms of people not getting the same chances to go on and do these other jobs, rather than there's too many white men in Hollywood. Like, that's, I don't know. That's my rant.
We're also talking about acting.
Right.
You don't...
A skill-intensive job.
No, like, we're talking about people who are pretending to be these people.
Oh, well, that's another thing.
Right. So you pick someone who's the exact person that character is. It's not really acting. You know what I mean? These people are paid to make believe.
Yeah, just get a real job, hippie. No, but sort of, because, like, compared to other fairy tale land, like, it's very different in a way.
Yeah.
And also you add the other layer on, is that you are playing a character who is not supposed to be who you are generally, but I feel like a lot of people make it about who they are. But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, so just to get back to the trailer, I don't know how much Batwoman was originally about, like, her being a woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the trailer, part of why people didn't like it, I think, because there's like many. Overall, it looks like a pretty like mediocre CW show, but there's like so many like
or
cringy
just a
moments.
CW show.
Yeah, exactly. Cringy moments where either Ruby Rose, I think it's basically just Ruby Rose, just saying like throwaway lines so that I can enforce in the watchers' minds that I am female and I am also Batman now. And it's like,
I am the Batman now.
Yeah, it's just very synthetic and weird. And I don't think, I mean, obviously the name sort of, it strikes you that way, but once again, I'm not too familiar with Batwoman, but I don't think her main, what do you call that? Her main character trait was being a woman. I don't think, at least I hope it wasn't. Maybe it was. I don't know. That's sort of how this show is making it seem.
Yeah, it's definitely what the show's doing.
Also, she's a lesbian, by the way.
Also a defining trait, seems.
Yeah. I mean, I should be fair. I mean, I don't know. Does Bruce Wayne ever have romances? I think he does.
Yeah, he does. He does. He has.
The Penguin. Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Robin.
Oh yeah, Robin. A little homoeroticism.
Alfred.
He's got the whole squad, dude.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne. He has romances, but it's sort of.
I don't think it was ever a main point like it is for like Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing I was about to bring up Spider-Man because like Spider-Man, a lot of the romance he has to like storylines he goes through is how he can't really commit to a lot of things because he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right. So his work suffers, his love life suffers, family suffers, things like that. So I feel like sort of similar with Batman.
Yeah.
It's definitely more.
Well, Batman's always
though.
been like more reserved in that way.
Yeah. He's always been
like he's the type of he's the type of dude who wouldn't kiss his wife in public. When you get rich enough, you sort of get that way. But yeah. So I'll be fair on that one and just say like, okay, well that's just another thing, like whatever.
Yeah, heroes are always going to have some sort of love interest.
Yeah, but the cynic in my mind is being like, okay, the CW didn't have enough good job in inclusiveness points by having Batwoman, so they need to have her be a lesbian. I'm assuming she's a lesbian because she's kissing a woman.
Yeah.
But
well, her comic book character is a lesbian too.
Really?
Yeah. So we're talking about Kate Kane, who was Bruce Wayne's cousin.
So is that the original Batwoman?
I think the original Batwoman was actually Jim Gordon's daughter.
Right, because I didn't remember. I mean, just like from a loose familiarity, I was just assuming because I don't remember any sort of love interest really for Batwoman.
No, because I know that there are like storylines where Barbara Gordon becomes. I don't know if she becomes Batwoman or Batgirl.
Oh, right.
She's probably Batgirl. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, so Barbara Gordon is Batgirl.
So maybe I'm thinking of Batgirl.
Yeah, so Batgirl, I think she. Maybe not all storylines, but I'm pretty sure there's a storyline where she does have a romantic relationship with Bruce Wayne. I'm mostly familiar. There's that storyline where she gets like her back is broken and she's paralyzed and she becomes, I think the name's Oracle. She becomes like a sidekick, a computer sidekick, someone who's like monitoring the city and relaying information to Batman.
Hmm.
And there's a storyline I think where the Joker either kills her or assaults her.
Sucks her toes.
I think he does rape her actually.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, the Joker's female in this. Oh, right, the Joker.
Sorry?
In the trailer.
The what?
Huh? What? In the Batwoman trailer, that's the female Joker, right?
Is it? I don't know. I have no idea.
I thought it was supposed to, because people were calling it the Joker in the comments, but I just thought it was like a generic bad person.
I guess it could be. So is this a universe where the genders are reversed for these characters? No, because Batman's in this universe. And Batman left them to die.
Oh my god. Just like a man. It does kind of, it almost felt like when I was watching it, gender bend, fan project almost. But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
my complaints with it really aren't any of that. It's mostly just there's like 3 or 4 lines in like the 3-minute trailers that are like, I am a woman, and then when she's clearly a robot, and then just like the general campiness, and then like the bumbling scientist sidekick in the Bat Cave, who's like, you can't go in there, Ruby Rose.
Dude,
and she's like, I'm a woman, I can go anywhere a man can go.
It was a really funny comment on the YouTube section. It was like, of course the scientist sidekick guy is a total cuck or something like that.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, that's the character. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like, I don't really have an opinion one way or another about Ruby Rose.
Yeah, me neither.
From the trailer, I'd say like her acting was like pretty meh. Probably on the lower side of meh, to be honest. But like, it was whatever. But it was just mostly like the writing.
Yeah.
I was just like,
also,
yeah,
it doesn't. The production of it doesn't look great because some of the fighting sequences looked pretty cringe.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's the CW, which is sort of...
Well, here's the thing about the CW. So this whole DC universe that CW has, it started with Arrow, Green Arrow. The first season of Green Arrow, that was a kick-ass show. The action...
I thought it was just called Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow. It's about Green Arrow. They started calling him Green Arrow, I think. Actually, I don't know if they're allowed to call him Green Arrow. Whatever.
Isn't that the original superhero, though?
Yeah. So it's the Green Arrow, but the show's called Arrow. In the show, they've called him the Vigilante to the. I don't know. I stopped watching after a while. It started off.
Just gave up.
I gave up on the show. It started off as like a really good show. I thought the action was cool. I thought the story was cool. Like he had, we were learning about him as a character, where he had been for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't too much romance stories in there, so it wasn't that annoying. Season 2 was alright, and then season 3 just starts to become a CW show, more and more. So, and that's why I didn't really stick around to watch Flash. Didn't watch, what was it, Legends of Tomorrow. It's all very bad acting or bad writing.
Yeah, I mean, Arrow was a big show for them, right? I mean,
Yeah, Arrow was huge in the beginning.
Yeah, that was pretty popular. I always find it very corny when there's like, when there's a series about like a superhero or something like that. Like, I think the movies make sense, but the series, I'm just like, oh, that doesn't. I don't know if the superhero thing really works for a series. Cut to all the successful series about superheroes, but I don't know. It's just at least when I hear about it and I know that it's a series. Because at first when I was looking at this Batwoman trailer, I was like, oh, is it a movie? Obviously, right away I could tell it wasn't because of the overall quality of the shots. But I'm saying that like I could fucking do better, but fuck you. Yeah, I don't know. It's just like, because I remember hearing about Arrow, just learning that it was a series, and I'm like, I don't know. Don't feel like watching that.
What was funny was the thing that got me to watch Arrow was the trailer for season 1. It was like a lot of action, and then I saw him do the salmon ladder.
What's the salmon ladder?
It's sort of like a pull up. You gotta move the bar up as you jump.
Oh yeah.
He was doing that shit really quick, and then there was a bunch of shots where he's using the arrows. some good martial
I
arts.
just saw a ripped dude, and I'm like, I gotta watch this.
That's how it comes across. But I thought, wow, that show looks pretty dope, and it was until I'm trying to figure out when
Until
I
he
stopped
stopped
watching.
working out on camera, fucking bored.
It just got way too Gossip Girl or whatever show CW has.
XO. Well, just imagine how bad Batwoman's gonna go. You know, women be talking. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, who knows? Maybe people will like it, but I doubt it by the trailer. But we don't really know too much about it yet.
Doesn't seem like it. I wonder how they'll handle the criticism. Well,
I imagine they won't.
They probably
They'll just
say,
ignore it.
yeah, ignore it, or be like, no, you're wrong, and you're wrong because you're a man.
You're not ready. You're not ready for a Batwoman. Talking a lot about women now. Let's get to the man's man, Robert Pattinson.
Aha, the new Batman. He's not confirmed yet, is he?
I mean, people said confirmed. How much does that mean? I don't know.
No, so it says sources tell Variety that Robert Pattinson is in negotiations.
Robin Williams. So yeah, there's potential, I guess. Let's go rise and say that.
I can kind of see it.
I think, didn't you bring him up when we were talking about potential Batman?
No, I think it was a. I brought up John Hamm, but that was if it was an older Batman.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I brought up. Oh, I brought up what's his name, Army Hammer.
Yeah.
The guy with the Army Hammer.
Yeah, with the stupid name.
Yeah.
I feel like it came up in one of our conversations. I'm not sure if it was put out, but I think one of us at least had mentioned Robert Pattinson in passing. I think
maybe,
but I can't remember. But he's got a big jaw.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's gonna be really.
That's the one prerequisite.
Prominent in that cowl.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna go outwards. Which is funny.
I think we've seen him in roles where I think we can see him as Bruce Wayne.
Well, to be fair, I haven't really seen him at all. But I will give him the benefit of the doubt in that the only thing I did see him as was when I was a kid and they made us watch Twilight in school.
Why?
I saw him in that, but it was like the end of the year, and instead of letting us go outside like we like to do, they had us watch Twilight in class.
They had us watch Twilight
and
outside.
Yeah, on a big screen in the sunlight. I still remember that teacher who put it on.
Mm-hmm.
She always reminded me of the porn star Dylan Ryder. And so that was a real treat in the classroom. Anyway,
gotta look it up.
She's younger than I thought she was. Because I remember her being older even when I was a kid. But
I have never heard of Dylan Ryder.
Too basic for my taste now, but when you're young. But yeah, we watched that, and I mean, obviously, I did not. I say obviously, but yeah, I mean, pretty obviously, I did not like Twilight.
I did not.
I did not. But it's sort of a saving grace that he didn't like Twilight either.
That's true. He did not like it.
I think kind of the blank, soulless acting he did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, part of that is being like, okay, this eternal being, but the other part of that is probably he didn't like what he was. So, like, you're not really gonna go all out there. At least that's my opinion.
You know what's funny though, is his part in Twilight was apparently for Henry Cavill.
Oh, I think we did talk about this. Yeah,
Oh, maybe that's why we talked about Robert Pattinson.
maybe because Henry Cavill. Yeah, maybe. That's fun.
I can't really picture it.
Yeah, imagine Henry Cavill.
Although he was probably not as jacked back then, so.
Then probably.
But like I can't picture him now. He's like he's way too jacked to be a vampire.
I mean, that'd be fucking sweet though. How come that's never been a thing? Because like, if you're an eternal being, you might as well get like the perfect body and just start like fucking lifting heavy.
I'm sure they'd probably just get tired of it at some point.
That's true. Because like, there's no end. You don't get old, so you can like let up on it. It's just like, okay.
Plus, teen girls they're into the slender white man.
Slender white man. At least they back in the day.
Yeah.
But that's all I have to say. I mean, I know he's been in other generally smaller movies than that, and I think people generally think he's an okay actor.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not in a lot of like he's not a really a blockbuster guy apart from Twilight.
No, he's really. It's funny because I always just see him in passing because he'll be like in an indie movie or something. So I'll see him like on the cover of it, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, he's still doing shit.
Well, he was in Harry Potter.
That's true. Yes. Well, that was when he was younger, right?
Yeah. He was Cedric Diggory.
Oh, you can't say that.
Oh shit.
Is he still dating FKA Twigs?
Who, Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
I didn't even know he dated FKA Twigs.
I'm doing some typing ASMR.
Robert Pattinson.
Oh, who is Robert Pattinson dating now? He's moved on from FKA Twigs.
They split 2 years ago.
2 years ago. God damn.
Yeah, they were together for 3 years though.
She's an interesting looking person.
I know one of her songs. I forget how it goes.
I don't like her music at all.
Yeah,
to
me
be
neither.
honest.
I heard one song that was like she's a sort of experimental with her music, abstract. Not for me.
Yeah. It's a bit different than what I like, but she's cute though, which is why I remembered. It's funny how everyone's searching this at the same time too. Like everybody's remembering, because he's being announced or whatever. So
Yeah, I feel like
It's
he hasn't really
one-
been in the headlines for a while. I feel like.
there you go.
What?
Robert Pattinson is expected to be the new Batman, and we're so down.
They said it's apparently between him and Nicholas Hoult.
I just typed in Nick Holt, and I got the the college football coach.
There's a U in Holt after the O.
Oh well, Robert Pattinson wins out every time. I think. I don't know. He's okay. He's sort of got the beard going on.
Well, one thing we know, it's not going to be an American if it's between these two guys.
I just feel like Holt looks a lot younger.
He's probably the bigger name at this point, actually, Nicholas Hoult.